My friend Takeshi used to work the graveyard shift at a convenience store until he found one that was supposed to be closed. It was 3 years ago, during his university days. He was driving back from his girlfriend's apartment in Gunma Prefecture, winding mountain roads, thick fog. His gas tank was nearly empty. That's when he saw it, the familiar glow of a Family Mart sign cutting through the mist. Strange, he didn't remember seeing a convenience store on this route before, but he was desperate for gas. The automatic doors slid open with that familiar chime. Everything looked normal. Bright fluorescent light, fully stocked shelves, the usual convenience store smell of fried chicken and coffee. Behind the counter stood a young man in the standard uniform, pale, tired, but smiling. Takeshi asked about the gas pump outside. The clerk nodded and activated it remotely. While filling his tank, Takeshi noticed something odd. The parking lot was completely empty, except for his car. No other customers, no delivery truck, nothing. Just this bright oasis in the middle of nowhere. He went back inside to pay. The clerk was still smiling, that same tired smile. As Takeshi handed over his money, he noticed the clerk's hands. They were cold, ice cold, and when he looked closer at the name tag, it read, Night Shift 1997 to present. Takeshi felt a chill run down his spine. 1997, that was over 20 years ago. He mumbled his thanks and hurried out. As he drove away, he looked in his rearview mirror. The store was gone, just darkness and fog. The next day, he researched that route online. He found an old news article from 1997. A Family Mart clerk had died in a car accident after working a double shift. The store had been closed permanently due to the remote location. But every night since then, travelers report seeing its light. They say if you're desperate enough, it will serve you. The clerk is still working his shift 26 years later, still smiling, still cold as ice. This story comes from a delivery driver who took a wrong turn and found a convenience store that shouldn't exist. Hiroshi had been delivering packages for Yamato Transport for 15 years. He knew every road in Tohoku region like the back of his hand. But that night, his GPS malfunctioned. Heavy snow, poor visibility, he was completely lost. That's when he spotted the warm glow of a 7-Eleven sign. Perfect. He could ask for directions and grab a hot coffee. The store looked normal from the outside, but when he stepped inside, something felt wrong. The air was too still, too quiet. No background music, no humming of refrigerators, just silence. Behind the counter stood an elderly woman. Her uniform was faded like it had been washed 1,000 times. She smiled warmly and asked what he needed. Hiroshi grabbed a coffee from the machine and approached the counter. That's when he noticed the products on the shelf. Everything looked old. The packaging designs were from decades ago. Cigarette brands that no longer existed. Candy he remembered from childhood. The woman rang up his coffee on an ancient cash register. The kind that actually rang cha-ching. She handed him his receipt with trembling hands. Hiroshi glanced at the paper. The date read, March 15th, 1987. His blood ran cold. He looked up at the woman, but she was gone. The entire store was empty and dark. Only his car's headlights illuminated the space through the window. He ran outside, heart pounding. The 7-Eleven sign was broken. Half the letters were missing. Weeds grew through cracks in the pavement. This place had been abandoned for years, but in his hand, the receipt remained. Still warm, still dated 1987. Later, he researched the location. The store had closed in 1987 after the owner died suddenly. An elderly woman who had worked there for 30 years. They found her behind the counter, still smiling. Hiroshi still has that receipt, though the paper grows more yellow each year. Sometimes late at night, he swears he can smell that coffee. Some customers browse for hours, but this one has been shopping for decades. Yuki was exploring abandoned buildings with her photography club. They were documenting rural decay in Akita Prefecture. Old farms, closed schools, forgotten pieces of Japan. That's when they found the Lawson convenience store. It sat alone beside an empty highway, windows boarded up, but the front door was unlocked. Inside, everything was covered in dust, except for one aisle. The snack aisle was pristine, as if someone had been maintaining it. Yuki raised her camera to capture the strange contrast. That's when she saw him through the viewfinder. A man in a business suit, standing perfectly still. He was facing the shelves, as if deciding what to buy. Yuki lowered her camera. The man was still there. She called out, "Excuse me, are you okay?" The man didn't respond, didn't even turn around. Yuki approached slowly, her footsteps echoing in the empty store. She tapped his shoulder. His suit crumbled to dust. Nothing remained but empty clothes and a shopping basket. Inside the basket were 3 items: potato chips, a drink, and chocolate, all expired from 15 years ago. Yuki stumbled backward, her camera clicking frantically. When she developed the photos later, the man appeared in every single shot, always in the same position, always reaching for the same snap. She researched the store's history online. It had closed after a regular customer suffered a heart attack inside. A businessman found dead in the snack aisle. His routine was always the same: chips, drink, chocolate. The owner couldn't bear to reopen after that. Too many memories. But some customers never learned to leave. Yuki deleted the photo, but sometimes, late at night, she still sees him in her peripheral vision, still shopping, still deciding. They say he's waiting for someone to work the register so he can finally pay. Working deliveries to abandoned places is bad enough, but this one was expecting. Kenji worked for a major food delivery company in rural Fukushima. Most nights were routine: pizza to apartments, bento to offices. But this order came in at 11:47 p.m. Destination Circle K, Route 343, Minamasoma. Strange, why would a convenience store order delivery? But the pay was good, double the normal rate. The order was simple: 3 onigiri, 2 coffees, and cigarettes. Kenji loaded his scooter and headed into the countryside. Route 343 was desolate at midnight. No streetlights, no traffic. He almost missed the store. It was barely visible from the road. The Circle K sign flickered weakly in the darkness. Half the letters were burned out, Clay K, but there were lights inside, and he could see someone moving around. Kenji parked and grabbed the delivery bag. The automatic doors didn't work. He had to push them open manually. Inside, a young woman in uniform was restocking shelves. She turned when he entered and smiled brightly. "Oh, perfect timing," she said. "We've been waiting." "We?" Kenji looked around. The store was empty. But then he heard voices from the back room, muffled conversation. The woman paid in cash, exact change, including a generous tip. As Kenji turned to leave, she called out, "Same time tomorrow?" He nodded politely and left, but something felt wrong. Outside, he looked back at the store. It was completely dark. No light, no movement, just an empty shell. The next day, Kenji asked his manager about the delivery. There was no record of the order, no payment process, but the cash in his pocket was real, cold, and crisp. He drove back to Route 343 during the day. The Circle K had been closed for 3 years, condemned after a gas. 3 employees died in the accident, including a young woman named Mizu. That night at 11:47 p.m., his phone buzzed with a new order. Same address, same items, same customer. "Same time tomorrow," echoed in his mind. Kenji quit his job the next day, but sometimes late at night, he still gets delivery notifications from that address. The same order, always waiting, always expecting him. Sometimes the cameras keep recording even after everyone's gone. This story was shared by a security company technician named Sat. His job was maintaining surveillance systems across Iwate Prefecture. Most were routine: banks, offices, shopping centers. But this call came in for an abandoned family market. The building's new owner wanted the old security system removed. Simple job, or so Sato thought. The store had been empty for 5 years, windows covered, door chained shut. Inside, everything was exactly as the last employees left. Coffee cups on the counter, half-eaten lunch in the break room. But the security system was still running, red lights blinking in the darkness. The main server was in a closet behind the counter. 5 years of continuous recording, thousands of hours of footage. Before wiping the drives, Sato decided to check the recent file. Curiosity, nothing more. He connected his laptop and accessed the camera. The footage from last week showed customers, people walking the aisles, browsing, shopping, but the store had been locked, empty, abandoned. Sato scrolled back further, months of the same. Ghost customers shopping in an empty store. He recognized some faces. They appeared night after night. The same routines, the same purchases like clockwork. One camera angle showed the counter but no cashier. Customers would place money on the counter and leave with their item. An honor system for the dead. Sato fast-forwarded to the night before. A young woman entered at 2:17 a.m. She walked directly to the security closet and looked straight at the camera. Her mouth moved as if speaking. Sato turned up the audio. "Please don't take our memory," he whispered. Behind her, dozens of transparent figures filled the store, all staring at the camera, all pleading silently. Sato slammed the laptop shut, heart rate. He grabbed the server and ran, didn't look back. Later, he researched the store's closure. Gas leak, same as many others, but this one was different. It happened during the morning rush, store full of regular customers. They never got to finish their shopping, never got to say goodbye. Sato kept the server, couldn't bring himself to destroy it. Sometimes, late at night, he plugs it in and watches. The store is always open, customers always shopping, memories always playing. And sometimes, he swears they wave at him through the camera.